Good evening, junkies. What is going on? It is Bob. We are here again with another live stream for you to talk about Hurricane Harbor opening weekend. Throwing a couple things about the regular park. We'll talk Media Day. But you can probably tell if you're at home watching us, normally we don't have this large of a crew, but we've got quite a few here. So we've got Laura, we've got Sarah, aka Karen, we've got James, Dr. Six, Kim, and Brent. And before we get rolling here, I want to throw a couple people under the hot seat. We've got two new moderators joining us here, their first time on the stream. So we do have Brent, we have James. Let's start with James. Just a couple questions here for you. This is gonna be nothing too difficult. But how long have you been going to the park for?
I have been going to the park for about 40 years now. Started as a 4 or 5-year-old. So
awesome. And what's your favorite ride?
Right now, I'm gonna say Max Force.
Max Force, yes.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Otherwise, it would be Raging Bull.
All right, Brent. What about you? How long have you been going to the park?
Well, I can remember riding the Eagle as a 9-year-old. Now I'm a 49-year-old, so it's been at least that long. I remember Turn of the Century before Demon, so it's been a while.
And your favorite ride?
I'm gonna go with Bull, followed closely by Goliath.
All right.
But I am repping right now. James and I did not call each other before the stream.
Sure. I was waiting for the food truck hat to be on.
Wait. Oh boy.
Oh wait. Oh, too far away. All right. Well, thank you for all of those who are joining us. We've got looks like about 14 people so far. I'll repeat this a couple times as we go through here. We are giving away if I can speak right, we are giving away a pair of tickets tonight for the park. And these are tickets that are valid anytime, no blackout dates. So yes, it can be used for Fright Fest, Holiday in the Park. They're not the two little tickets or a couple tickets you got when you're walking out of the park opening weekend. So these are the real deal tickets. And they are brought to us by staff at the park. One is choosing to remain anonymous, so I will leave her name out of this, but Trevi MK is our other person contributing tickets. So in the next couple of weeks here, we are going to make it rain tickets because we probably have about 5 pairs or so of tickets to give away, 5-6 pairs. So we've got tickets. So we'll come up with some contests and give those away. So if you want to enter for the contest, just in the comment, leave your full name on there. And we'll go ahead and enter you in. And you do need to be present at the end of the show or whenever we decide to run the contest. So you do have to be present to win. So we'll just kind of keep track of names as you just throw your name out there. So Laura, looks like we already got some names coming in. But we're going to start this off. I was kind of debating how we were going to go with this, if we were going to end on a high note and on a low note, but we might as well start down in the gutters, in the sewers, and kind of just take this thing up from there. I'm going to actually turn this over to I want to say Karen.
Just say Sarah.
We'll say Karen. We'll turn it over to Karen, and I'm going to let her kind of kick this conversation off.
So we're going to address the elephant in the room, a lot of what people were talking about and what the complaints from the weekend in general had to do with just the security and guest behavior. I don't want to put it all on security because we absolutely know and respect that the security personnel that is working, they are doing an amazing job and they're doing what they can right now. It goes beyond the boots on the ground. So what we like to say is that we understand that this is it's a new crowd level. We're out of practice. There are some choices being made that are beyond the security on the ground, and if you see security, thank them for being out. I did happen to see a lot more guards walking around, but it's an area of improvement. It's an area that really there isn't beyond this past weekend, now that the park sees how bad this is, it needs to be addressed. And we're very hopeful to see growth in this area at a management level. You know, just thinking of all the roles that security accomplishes in our park, as far as getting guests in, staffing the parking, staffing the preferred parking, and walking around, taking care of the lines. I know we have the added layers right now of mask enforcement in certain places. And, you know, when that changes, that might help, because that's one less responsibility. But we, as a team, are disappointed in the combination of the guest behavior that we're seeing, because it all starts with guest behavior. If everyone came in and did what they were supposed to, it wouldn't be a problem. And how it's been addressed or not been addressed. So we all share that with you. There isn't an excuse for that to continue. And I was I was actually watching some YouTube videos more on Magic Mountain, but came along a quote by the old CEO, Mark Shapiro, that, you know, once you lose mom, she's not coming back. I think they're losing mom at this point. Every person that gets away with something, every person who somebody doesn't say something to, it just incentivizes others to do it. Because I'm local to the park. I taught middle school for years, and I know the stories that come about shenanigans people pull at Six Flags, and the amount of times even people on our team talked about people stealing this weekend, and running around. That the people come home and tell those stories, then more do it. So it's just going to get exponentially worse unless something happens. And you have to think, like, if you're kicking somebody out of the park who pay, and I am not I will not ever allow the classist just argument that if you charge more, the behavior will be better. We're not going to play that. But if somebody's only paid $24.99 to get in the park, I don't think you should feel bad if you kick them out if they don't follow your policies. I don't think it really should be any skin off your back, and it would be nicer to get rid of the bad apples than just have some other people just choose not to come back. So we're very hopeful to see that changes. But we're going to move from here into Hurricane Harbor, because I will say a bright spot. I saw lots of security on Monday in my visit in Hurricane Harbor, and just walking through and being proactive and friendly. And everything isn't all bad. If we choose to see all bad, that's what we're going to see. So we are going to focus on our water park.
Yeah, and last week was actually a very busy week for the whole Junkies team. We started off Thursday. I was out at Media Day for Hurricane Harbor, Chicago, riding Tsunami Surge. I'm sure you guys have seen the video. If not, when we throw this up to YouTube's, I'll link the video in the comments so you can check that out. But yeah, I had the opportunity to give that a ride for all of you to see, and took one for the team in the freezing temperatures. And as Brent knows, that water is cold. And you rode it on, and Brent rode it over the weekend when it was a little bit warmer outside. It was in the 40s when I was on that thing, and you get soaked in that first. As soon as you go up that first propulsion, that's it. You're wet. So did that, and then we move over to Friday. Sent Laura out to Hurricane Harbor, Rockford, to ride Tidal Wave. So what'd you think of that experience?
It was 30 degrees outside. Wind chill made it a lot colder. Luckily, mine was only 4 stories off the ground, 50 stairs up. Tsunami Surge is like 150 and like 8 feet off the ground. So I guess I got the lucky one. I also didn't get as wet on Tidal Wave. Literally the only thing, the water was heated, so it was nice. And then the only thing that got wet on me was my back end. So it's really not a total drenching ride. So I was happy with it in 30-degree weather.
Yeah, and I will say with both of those new coasters, they're both using that aqua lucent technology in their hairpin turns, and that's really cool going in there and just seeing the different light. And there's no power or anything. It's just based on the way the sun's hitting the ride that's letting the outdoor light in. It doesn't even really need to be direct sunlight. It's just outdoor light turns that into various color patterns depending how they have those panels set up. So we had 2 media days, and then several of us crazy people from this team, along with a bunch of our members, decided to invade Hurricane Rockford on Saturday at 8 a.m. to film a commercial in the wave pool. So they were looking to get some B-roll footage, and we took a whole bunch of junkies out there with us to basically play in the wave pool. Brent, what'd you think of that? I know your kind of first time being at an event of that type.
It was a lot of fun. It was also I'm going to go with terribly painful. It was being in the water for 30 minutes was okay. An hour was starting to. I was wondering how they're going to use this footage because my face clearly had to be reflecting an hour and a half in 40-degree water. So we'll see exactly how they work that.
My 13-year-old I worried she ruined the whole thing, but because about an hour in, she had a snarl on her face. She was like this the whole time. She just couldn't even play it off anymore.
I got sunburn from it, so it might have not been that hot, but I still managed to get a sunburn with the reflecting off the water and everything else. So I'm starting to peel, even though I had SPF 100 on.
Oh wow!
Yes, that fair Irish skin that she has, she just burns. Surprised she didn't when we came back from Disney. She didn't look like a lobster. I thought for sure that was going to happen. So we shot the commercial, and then several of us decided, you know what? Let's go for the 3-part challenge here.
I didn't make it.
With it being opening day at Hurricane Harbor, Chicago, we figured that's where we're headed. So we hopped in the car. Brent and I were drag racing down the highway to get there, and then we arrived at Hurricane Harbor. I will say they were definitely checking reservations when we arrived. I know I got checked. I know Brent got checked. Got in there. It was cold. It was dead. I mean, I didn't expect, to really see anybody in there, but it was. So for those of you that did go into Hurricane Harbor, thoughts, observations?
I thought that the team members might actually outnumber the guests, but it was together. It was working. The store was working. The food was working. So yes, they got an easy start. They had a low impact crowd, and that was probably a big contributor. But everything was like a Swiss watch, and that made me feel really good. That of course, when they have to ramp up to full capacity, it's going to be a lot different. But for now, at least the systems were working. The food ordering, the payment, everything was working. I'm happy about that.
I think it was really just such a blessing that they had almost like a soft open this past weekend. Now seeing what the weather will be this weekend, they needed that. But I went Monday. It was actually, because it was actually over 70. There was a decent crowd building, but not crowded at all. But again, working is a great way to describe it. They just had it. It was like we never left from last year. I did notice that they were in that entrance. They were selling tickets, so there were people buying either tickets or season passes at the front to get in. And I think, Jamie, you had mentioned maybe the first weekend they had did they have the old metal detectors, or did they just have the same walkthroughs?
Oh,
They had the new ones.
Oh, okay. It's quite a breeze to get in.
Yeah, I could
Much
expound
easier
on
than
that.
before, where they had to search everything.
Yeah.
Pull all those big towels out and.
I had a great big backpack on Sunday, and I walked in, and then they pulled me off to the right with the bag, and then the X-ray machine is several steps over to the right, so there's room for a couple people to kind of queue up and get examined while other traffic can still flow in. So they've thought that through.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. So when you walk in, it's I think there were two. They have little boxes for them to check. They check in your pass, but there was almost like another. I don't remember who was standing behind them, but um, it was so smooth getting in. So I didn't see the line build. When I left on Memorial Day, we left around 2 and it was getting busy, but the line wasn't that busy getting in because it's just straight in. I think people were still a little shocked that it was a second reservation and a second park now. And I think that's just going to take. When you're inside, you can't really find it's blocked off. You cannot find the Viper path. So there's no mistaking that you can't get into the park.
And a contributing component to it being a second entrance now is, for anyone who hasn't been there for a week, they took the first several rows of the premier parking or the premium, I don't know what that word is, and they blocked it off. It's handicap now. And I'm sure that's per state regs and percentages of parking spots. So as you drive into that premium parking area, you're going to notice that there's nobody up front.
Yeah, it was different. And justifiably, there isn't any way to separate and make sure that there is that accessibility. So that's totally understandable. I hope that those 3 rows get added to the back. I saw more stanchions for preferred parking,
especially for Fright Fest.
We're used to it going all the way back, and I saw where there are more stanchions along the gate. Those are, I know you can't just pick them up and move, but they're movable. And just to think through that we are I don't want to go to care, but a significant number of people who were platinum are now diamond and have access to those spots every day. And so you've increased the number of people who can make a reservation, but then you've decreased the number of spots. So it would be fair to give some of those spots back, and maybe even, and I'm concerned. The other concern I have is we have members who do have placards on their car, and we're going to we're going to the Hurricane Harbor, and we're not given access to that handicap parking. So if it's there because it needs to be a certain amount of steps away from that entrance, I would hope that it would be accessible to people who need it, regardless of how much they pay for their membership, which I know is the opposite of what I've been saying for other things, but with accessibility, it's a little unclear if that's handicap preferred or if that's Hurricane Harbor access, and it'd be nice to know.
So obviously it was cold in the water park. The waves are running in the wave pool. We seem to keep getting that question quite a bit. Yes, the waves are going. Did anyone go on anything? Did anybody get wet? I know Brent went on Tsunami, but anybody else? Brent, you want to talk about your ride on Tsunami? I mean, you guys see mine live. Let's hear your thoughts here.
All right, yeah, 5 times, and I would have gone more if my old legs could have carried me back up those stairs again. Great ride. So, first of all, 145 steps. That's rough. You get to the top, and they do ask your weight. There's some restrictions. The raft can't go with less than 110 pounds of person in it, and it cannot go with more than 400 pounds of person in it. So they were asking the weights, and me solo, and then me with my 14-year-old niece ride buddy. We were perfectly suited for it. You get on, you're sitting on a platform, they hit a button and launch you. That first hill, as Bob said, that water basically the water pushes you up the hill against your back. And when it's 40 degrees, it takes your breath away. You want to be sitting there going, this is a great ride. And you're like, I can't breathe. So you go through the tunnels. They're fantastic. Before they launch you, they do warn you that they've had a couple of stall outs during testing. I have to see if we can find someone who knows anything about this, but There's been a couple instances where you don't get up the hill and then you go back down backwards and you're kind of stuck in a rut because you don't have any propulsion. They thought this through. It's designed for it, and there's a platform. But gee, Bob, do you know anyone who possibly needed to get evac'd off of that?
Yeah. There are several people, including myself, and it's actually, I know some people might think it might be a size thing. I actually seen a comment by somebody. Their 13-year-old kid ended up veiling out on Tsunami, and where I actually valleyed out, it was right before the last propulsion going upward, and it just didn't seem right coming out. First of all, coming out of that spiral in there and going down, it just didn't seem quick enough. And I was thinking, like, I'm not going to have enough power going up that hill. And sure enough, went over the jet and it barely moved. The next thing I know, I rolled back. And the good thing is, if it does happen, all they want you to do is just kind of climb off your raft. The stairs are right there where it valleyed out, so it can be more convenient. Just step off. They come and get you. You walk down the stairs, and if you wanted to go up and give it another shot, go ahead and try it again. But I haven't seen. It seems that the ones are veiling. It seems single riders. I haven't seen yet where it's been like a double rider in there.
My kids, two of them insist that they almost did, but that's probably just that they were waiting for the propulsion to come on. They're like, it almost happened to us. But I would agree, it's probably just single riders.
Yeah,
go ahead, Brad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I felt that too. As I was going through my very first ride through the full 360 plus, the front of my raft, because I was leaning back, and the front of my raft hit dry wall, and I lost a lot of momentum. So I can see it being more of a symptom of a single rider. Back to you, Bob. Sorry.
Yeah, and what I was going to say, what I don't think anyone knows, I don't know, I think I probably told most of you this, on Media Day, there's actually a Pelican case in the front part of the raft. So a Pelican case, for those who don't know, it's basically, it's a box that's used to carry tech equipment and whatnot. So I don't know if they were using it for a little bit of weight in the front. I'm not sure if they had some of the stuff for the camera going on there, like extra battery or whatnot, but I did have a riding buddy. It was a Pelican case. And you guys seen, I kind of hit the bottom of that pole pretty violently when I rode, and my ankles came crashing down on said case. At least I didn't wipe out. So that was the plus. And we're going to keep going here with Hurricane Harbor, but for those of you just joining us, if you're looking to get in on the tickets we're giving away, leave your full name in the comments. It has to be yourself. You can't enter a friend. You have to be in the stream, and you have to be present to win at the end. So now as we return to our regularly scheduled program.
I only went to Hurricane. I went to Hurricane Harbor on Saturday just for the free ice cream.
I didn't make it there for the free ice cream.
I had to hunt it down, and I even asked Hank, and Hank didn't know nothing about the ice cream.
Did he just go buy you an ice cream?
Hank just told me to go ask the one restaurant for it.
Yeah.
I got mine at $6 Below.
That's where we ended up getting it at, but it wasn't open when we were first there.
What time did it close on Saturday?
Saturday, 2 o'clock.
Did it close early on Sunday as well? Do we know?
No, I don't think it did.
Oh, okay.
We just got cold. We just got...
Our park wasn't like St. Louis and closed for the weekend and wait till next weekend to open up.
Yeah. And just Hurricane Harbor is not open this week during the week, but they do start daily operation next week. So you can't run out. And I've had some people asking for a reservation for like tomorrow. It's not open. This was just weekends, but I noticed some things like details. All the tubes have been replaced. So all what we used to have for the tubes for the Lazy River all are Hurricane Harbor branded, and they've been replaced. No more hot tamale tubes.
Yeah, let's see. Since we're kind of talking about food here, let me see if my computer lets me do this. Let's pull up the dining plan for the food options at the park. So bear with me a second. Hopefully this works. There we go. So we've got a hold of the copy of this, and I'm sure quite a people are excited to see that first line item on there that is showing that we are having a food truck.
Yes.
So we have the food truck coming with the jerk chicken. Now we broke this rumor a couple weeks back, and we said, you know what, we think there's gonna be a food truck in the water park with jerk chicken. Now, coincidence, maybe not, but we'll take credit for it. So anybody order anything? Anybody try anything different?
Yes. I had a double avocado bacon burger. And let me tell you, the bacon was delicious. Did you have a double bacon avocado burger, Bob and Laura?
Well, that is what we actually ordered, and we had received a single avocado cheeseburger.
Oh my goodness! So I got all your bacon.
Yeah, you got all my bacon. They kind of forgot the bacon on there, and Laura ordered the same thing, and she didn't get bacon.
Really sorry to hear this. This is tragic.
Now, what we're trying to decide when it says double avocado bacon cheeseburger, are we saying double the avocado, or are we talking 2 burger patties here? There's a little play on words there. So if anybody that knows the actual answer, please let us know so we can kind of clarify what that sandwich actually is supposed to be. I know some people, and I'll actually pop this comment up here. Sad to get rid of the regular fish and saltwater salad. It appears that it's now fish tacos. Let's see what else is on here. I don't know. Nothing looks too much different than last season, other than the double avocado burger and the fish tacos. Is there anything else on here that I'm missing that was there last season and not this season?
Well, looks like the jerk chicken is a nice ad, but otherwise it
Does the
seems
scoop
like
of
I've
ice
tried
cream
everything.
there? Can you scroll down? Is it still? Oh yeah, single scoop of
Yes.
ice cream.
Now, there is something I do want to bring up because I just see something on the menu. Notice there's a section on there for mobile pickup center where I'm assuming this is probably going to be mobile order. There is a Nashville hot chicken sandwich on there with a $2 upgrade.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The $2 upgrade doesn't work on mobile order.
Right. We cannot we can't order that on the mobile app for the upgrade. And if it's only mobile, I'm not sure how we'd actually get a hold of that sandwich.
Actually pay for it with our discount, but we couldn't get it. The same reason I haven't been able to get my buffalo chicken quesadilla. I guess I could walk up, but yeah, I'm really excited to try that one because that one's at a location in the dry park that hasn't opened yet. And I know they did have a spicy sandwich that was nowhere close to Nashville hot, so this had better be Nashville hot. But yeah, we can't these $2 upcharges until it's fixed on mobile order where we can actually pay for them. We can't get it. And if you don't know, the food pickup, the dining pickup for mobile order is different at the water park at Hurricane Harbor than it is in other places in the park. Now on Monday it wasn't available at all, and I suspect that was because there wasn't staff to put at that third window. But if you're looking at their little food court, they have the pizza, then they have the burgers, which is the, what do they call it? Pink Flamingo. There's a third window, and you can order on mobile order basically everything that's on the menu for Pink Flamingo and Paradise Pizza, as well as those special mobile order items. So you actually don't have to go to different windows if different family members want things. It's so nice that you can make your whole order and go to the mobile order pickup center. And last year, at least, they were great about Even having on busy days, having somebody at the end of that queue and not letting people in until it showed that their mobile order was ready, which makes life so easy when they have that person greeting and checking in. We know that that is a staffing challenge, but that's great. So yeah, that's maybe some feedback. I hope if somebody hears it that can hear it. It would be nice to try that Nashville hot chicken sandwich, but we won't be able to try it with our meal plan.
Right. I will say, and this is something I'm a fan of. I know Laura's a fan of, and we have a mystery person in here, but garlic knots with the pizza. Those garlic knots are amazing.
That's a big upgrade. Thank you.
And Sarah, there's somebody else.
It never made sense. In that case, I mean, now we can at least walk up and order the quesadilla. I know we want to try to focus on Hurricane Harbor. So I'll be okay. I could also make one at home. I could actually cook.
Well, I know in Georgia last year we were able to enter our debit card for the upcharges and get our food for picking up that, if we wanted upcharge on it.
Yeah, I've heard that works at other parks, but I've tried. If it's an upcharge item, it's not showing as part of the meal plan in our apps.
Yeah, so it's just they're still working out the kinks to it. It's gonna take it. They got, like you said, low staffing. They're having a lot of issues this beginning of the year. So let's just give them some time and let them work through the kinks.
So I think one thing to understand then, if we're in food, if it's a busy day or if it's not a busy day, if there isn't enough staff, the first window that's going to go, or the first option, is pretty much just going to be mobile order in the water park, it seems. But when I went there on Monday, it was a little busier. I think they were out of avocado for the avocado burgers. So they were offering people nacho cheese instead.
Well, they're still having a hard time at all the places to get the food. A lot of like where they get their ordering and not carrying the product yet. A lot of the cold storages were out of a lot of food because of everything. So that's why you're seeing different things and certain things not on the menu yet again, because it's not in the warehouses yet.
Yeah. But they were fast. They were really fast getting it through. I love, and maybe I hope that I've always seen supervisors in the water park working with their crew and like coaching their crews, like hands-on. And that's just a practice I'd love to see more places. And maybe it's because you can see the kitchen is so open. But they're well managed. I think the stands. Now, that being said, it's going to be very, very busy. It's going to be much busier this weekend. Have some grace. Understand there's a lot of orders. And unlike some places where there truly are only 3 menu items, there's a lot of variables with the menu at Hurricane Harbor. Now having the bacon avocado, they have a salad. There's just a lot of different things. So have some grace with them. Know what you want to order. I think the refills were pretty easy to go on one side. Heading to the bars are good places for refills, but I already feel for the Hurricane Harbor staff for this coming weekend.
And for refills in Hurricane Harbor, they will ask for your pass on the free refills and scan your pass. Yes, Hurricane Harbor is very known for that.
They seem to be more strict on rules in Hurricane Harbor as far as like with the food pass, but they're consistent. So consistently, they will ask to see your pass and your drink cup. I mean, and that protects all of us because then there's no point in stealing it from the ride thing, which is gross anyway. But speaking of gross, I would like the food people to stop with the pouring into the cup. That just seems less sanitary than just filling the cup. Like they're using the same cup and they just keep pouring. Please just stop. Just go ahead and fill my cup.
Wouldn't that be like something with, you never know what's in one drink compared to another. Somebody could be allergic to something or doesn't want sugar. And
yeah, it's just something that
if someone wants to diet and somebody can't have sugar and then they screw up the cups, like a diabetic person, that screws up their system.
I've seen them rinse it out in between too, but it still doesn't help.
Yeah, like I had a Sprite that was like it was amber colored because whatever that had been in the cup before. But I feel like there's more of a risk with splashback, and I'm not a food scientist, but for me, I feel like that's more of a risk. And then we're using the same cup, and when bees come out, that's not going to be good for the employees to have a bunch of sugary cups sitting out there. And we're also going to have like flies sitting on that, and we know it just maybe we could hopefully just transition to just filling the cup, maybe. But I'm being Karen today.
Well, an observation that we had when we ordered our double avocado cheeseburger, because Brent took all our bacon on there, was there was about 7 or 8 staff members actually in Pink Flamingo. There was one person on the register, and the person on the register not only had to ring you in, but then had to run down to the opposite end and fill up the drink cup. Not sure why they didn't just pick one of those team members back there and say, hey, you do the drink refills. I'm going to ring the register. So it did slow things down a little bit there, because it was like you just walked all the way down to the other end and came back with my drink. And again, as Rich said, they are scanning you. So, I wasn't used to that. So they're like, we need to scan the memberships. I was like, oh, here you go. Scan it.
Hey, Bob, who's this guest that just appeared on our show here now? It's a mystery
I know.
guest.
We do have a mystery guest.
They let everyone in.
They let anybody in here.
They do. Chocolate fudge.
So we've had all of our moderators except one. And by the way, if you guys find Chris in the park, Chris has the remaining pins. So you need to ask Chris for pins. He has the new bracelets that we have. He's got tons of those, but he has the pins. He loves talking with members. Bonus points if you can get a selfie with him, because I've heard he really likes having pictures taken.
And he likes to hand out skip the line tickets too.
Yes, and ask him for his skip the line. So
he may dance for you too.
Can we take them all?
He may do a dance.
If you ask him to dance, I heard he will dance.
He does some weird dances.
So just make sure if you do find Chris in the park that just have a nice conversation with him and ask him for a pin.
But that's even if they can find Jamie, because sometimes they can't find Jamie either. So
Jamie's elusive, and Sarah's kind of elusive too. No one can find Sarah.
Oh, but I've been told everyone watches and hears what I say. So
and to find Brent, all you gotta do is sit in one spot, and he'll walk past you about 20 times. Because he's doing his
Stand
laps.
10 feet above everyone. How can you not see me?
And Brent, by the way, I did find the start and stop of the blue line for you.
Yeah, I know. I found that too at the bridge.
It's over by the bridge. Yep, at the bridge. There's 2 of them.
All of math, all through high school, they told me a circle had no start and end, and there it was.
And there's 2 of them though at both bridges.
All right.
Well, anything else with Hurricane Harbor on anything? Rides, food.
I checked out the cabanas and the preferred seating area, because I had made my first reservation before the IT department ruined the portal. The King Cabanas are not set up yet, so generally those live as you first walk in, and those aren't even set up. You just see the empty skeletons of tents. The Queen Cabanas are set up. So if you have points for a weekday cabana, they are there. If you've not done one before, that's 40,000 member points. It's kind of fun. You can put 6 people in it, but you have to do it the day of. You can't reserve it. Otherwise, if you want to use your there's member discounts. It's not 50%, it's 30% for that in tubes. I did not check if our member discount would work on tube rentals. I didn't even check to see if tube rentals were available. They were? Okay.
Yeah, I seen them the other day.
But I don't think the discount worked in the past.
In the past, it did though. So there was a weird in 2019. There was a weird like I think the pass itself is what $30, so no big deal if it doesn't ever work. But there was a weird thing where I bought it one day, and I like in 2018 they gave me the discount because I always ask. And then in 2019 they're like, no, you don't get the discount. Okay, fine, I paid it. And then when I went the next day, they're like, oh yeah, you were right, you get the discount. Go to guest relations. And then I went to guest relations. I said they sent me back to get money because I was supposed to get a discount on this. And guest relations said, oh yeah, here's your, it was like $9. So I don't know, it's only $30 for the summer. If you rent a tube, the benefit for renting a tube is on a busy day, it's like you're skip the line for the lazy river. You don't have to wait for a tube, and you can go through the lazy river as many times as you want.
But then you have to babysit it all day.
Yeah, you do.
Just another kid.
Special wristband, and they're supposed to.
It doesn't talk back.
They are pretty good about they at least okay. So they were good about checking wristbands for things. If you get a Cabana, the tube rental is supposed to come with it, a certain number of tubes. So that's something to consider. The Cabanas used to be a much better package, but I believe that the price has gone down anyway. So it reflects that you don't get your drinks, which we don't really need as members anyway. But they used to give a towel, and that was really
But it was an advantage to have the drinks in the cooler and not have to go wait in the long lines for a refill.
True. Like, yeah, the Cabana, the package of the Cabana has been stripped down, but the furniture is nicer. So it is nice. Two of my memberships have enough for a Cabana. We may do it. We may not. I don't know. The Diamond Elite seating was all set up. It looked like it had a little more seating last year, because of COVID, they actually had zip tied the lounge chairs together into groups of 2 or 3. So you couldn't rearrange, maybe 2, 3, or 4. You couldn't rearrange them. The zip ties seem to have all been removed, or for the most part removed, from Diamond Elite. So you can at least move them to configure them where you need them to be. It's very clearly marked. There's like a red line in between where the Diamond and Diamond Elite patio ends and when the general area begins. And plus they moved a standing sign. So they have a little gate, and then there's a standing sign right there. So if somebody walks in and wanders in, which happens a lot because people are like, oh wait, empty seats, yay. And then it. If I sit there reading a book, I never read my book because I just watch the amount of people that like, I found seats, and then have the attendant come over and say, can I see your reservation? And they're like, what? They were checking. They were very proactive. And it's one of those things when I talk about like things that security can do productive, those hosts and hostesses in that area are great. They just go and greet. If they're not at the register, they'll just greet people, and instead of saying, hey, get out, they say, oh, can I check you in with your reservation? Oh, you don't have a reservation? Well, I can sell you they have little lounge chairs that you can rent. I think they're like $45 if you want reserved covered lounges, or I can rent you a Cabana.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think those are open free seats too, and not realizing you have to pay for them. And I think there should be some better markage that those are for sale, not just open seats.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're so far away from the attendant. Yes, you do buy the all season tube pass right where you rent the tubes. They add it to your pass right there. So if I've ever shown this week, I've shown my pass a lot of times, at least my benefits, and it stays on there because I used to have a tube pass and it says expired, but it'll show up on there. And then I think you have to bring in, it was like $1 or $2. We didn't have the tube pass last year, wasn't available because we didn't have tubes. But if I remember correctly, even if you have the tube pass, don't you have to bring in like a deposit? Oh, I think it was like a $1 or $2 deposit. If somebody else knows in the comments, you can put it in. But I think even with a tube pass, you had to provide a deposit, which I don't know how that would work now without cash. So I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing, but at least in 2018, 2019, we had to put a deposit down, and then when we returned the tubes, we received our $1 or $2 back.
Yeah, they still manage handling deposits with credit cards for the ECVs and the wheelchairs, so they could do it. The question is it convenient to do it for $1 or $2?
Right. Like if you're doing it for $1 and the refund, and they have whatever they charge per swipe or whatever. I don't know. I would think that they could just do it by the pass, but they always did deposit, so I don't know.
Something to maybe look at is if we go to a hurricane, if you go to the one in Rockford and the one in Chicago, can you get the tube pass? We've never had it before, so I don't know. If you could do it, if you get one, if you can use it at both parks.
No.
That's
in 2019. At least in 2019.
That's something that maybe we'll look at.
I did ask that question. I said, "Oh, I have the tube," and this was early on with Rockford being a Six Flags park, so this could be different. But my experience in 2019 was that it had to be separate passes, but they were willing to sell me the one in Rockford to put on there. We just weren't going to go there enough times. You can use the tubes. I believe you can still use the tubes in the wave pool. Where else I don't know where else you can use the tubes.
Maybe me and Jamie can find out this weekend if we can get the tubes like that, just to see. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to. I actually didn't even go and ask about getting a tube rental when we were there on Monday because I didn't want to deal with a tube. But it may or may not get a 30% discount if you're Diamond Elite. I wouldn't count on it. And you can always ask. And if you get one, you can share back. And if you don't get one, be nice. But our experience with Hurricane Harbor really is, I think, that it's fairly consistent. And I think that's because it's such a safety sensitive area. You have to be consistent. So like I said, when I didn't get it the one time, I went back and I was actually told by the person at the tube rental that I was entitled to it. So, and Diamond Elite seating, they are allowed per the rules to release the seats at 1 every day. So your seat is only guaranteed if you make a reservation. You only get as many seats as your reservation. So if you have some other people with you, or if you have another child that's too young, they will tell you that you can only have as many chairs as you have in your reservation, and then you'll get wristbands for that. And this year they used to do like a color rotation, and I don't know if they're doing a color rotation now, but they were writing the dates on the wristband, where I hadn't seen that before, where I just kind of seen a color, and they probably knew which day it was. So the dates are on there. I think it's nice. But if you have a Diamond Elite membership and you go in after 1, you're always allowed to go. It's not like they open the seats to everybody at 1. They're still reserved for Diamond and Diamond Elite. So if you go up and ask if there's space or if somebody's left and there's space, they'll go ahead and check you in and let you go if you show your cards.
Yes, and don't forget, if you are going to Hurricane Harbor, Chicago, it does require its own reservation, separate from the water park. And also, if you're going out to Hurricane Harbor, Rockford, that requires its own reservation as well. And speaking of Rockford, anybody got any thoughts on Rockford? I know, we were there obviously for the commercial and kind of bailed right away afterwards. But Sarah, did you stick around at all, or did you?
We didn't because my kids were so cold. They were very cold, and that's why we missed getting the 3 parks, because they asked if they could just come. They could go home and take a nap. I have one that has like 0 body fat. She probably was like ready to pass out. But I enjoy Rockford. It's just a different vibe. It's just a different collection of slides. It's a little different in that the way things are, it's almost like there's little zones. There's like little collections of slides in different corners. So it's not as open a layout, but I think it's a really pleasant day to go out there. We really enjoy going to Rockford is a change. Their wave pool is, I thought their waves were bigger. I think their wave pool gets much deeper.
It's way deeper because I'm almost 6'1", and I can completely submerge myself standing up.
Yeah, and there's a drop. There's a place that they had, when we were doing the shoot, they put us somewhere. They said to stay 2'3", or was it 3'6" or something? And then all of a sudden they told us to go deeper, and I had to watch because my son isn't as steady a swimmer as my girls, and there was like all of a sudden it did drop, and I wouldn't be able to stand anymore and make sure that he was safe and steady. So if you're not a great swimmer, just be mindful if you go to Rockford. I mean, obviously there are guards everywhere, but just be mindful of the depth that's posted on the side. And just that if you're in a wave, that depth is going to feel bigger when the waves get going. The waves are really big. It's no longer soft bottom. It used to be soft bottom, but that is gone.
And their lazy river does not require you to have a tube, where Gurney does require you to have a tube. But their lazy river is, I feel it's shorter than ours.
It is a little, you do lose some of the magic because there's like traffic going along the highway right there. Yeah. There's not a berm. Whereas, I mean, we can kind of hear it in Gurney, but they've put a nice big berm there. So like you do lose some of the magic. We're like, oh, there's Rich in his truck. But the really interesting cabanas that are along the lazy river, they look like
shacks.
It's interesting. I think everyone there is so friendly. It'll give you, when you go to get your snacks and food, it'll give you kind of those Park District pool, because that's what it was, vibes of picking up. But I like it. If you want a day that it's just that you can truly relax and just have a good time, I think that it's a great day. If you're bringing young kids, it's not like Hurricane Harbor, Chicago, where you can set up one place and stay. You do have to get up and move with them because everything is in its own area, and there's no place that you can be where you can just monitor everything.
It does have that small time feel, homier.
But the slides are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to make that same comment. It does feel like Six Flags is growing on Muni Park, and well, they effectively are. And they're making it big with this new tidal wave and some of those bigger slides. They're really improving it. But you down at the core, it's your local Muni Park, and it's really homey for that. I like that feel.
And I do have the menu up for Rockford as well, so you can see it's not as many food options on there, but pretty much it's your typical Six Flags menu. They do have the double avocado bacon cheeseburger out there.
They have a food trailer.
Yes, did see the food trailer, not a food truck, but the food trailer.
The food trailer used to make homemade chips, but I don't see those on there anymore.
And it's probably because we have chips coming to you courtesy of Frito-Lay.
We had, what did we have there, Kim? We had chicken tenders and burgers, I think, last year.
I think that's what we had last year. We didn't go too way out there. I don't know if we had a pizza or not. Did somebody have a pizza? I can't remember.
I think so.
And then that building they just redid it. So is that still almost like cafeteria style or picnic grove style, where you walk in one side and walk in the out
the pizza one was, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But they had mobile ordering out on the side of it. You could pick up your mobile order outside on the side of the building.
And do not forget, if you are in one of the water parks and you want to use mobile order and you're wondering why it's not working, double check in your app that you've switched the park. You have to switch the park to make it work.
At any park, even if you go to St. Louis or if you go to, we've seen that a lot.
And to remember, I don't know if they changed it from Saturday, but when we were walking through Saturday, I noticed that the seats, while they're not zip tied together, they still are really socially distanced. So to me, it felt like they're missing half of the seats. So seats are going to go fast.
Yeah. I did notice in Hurricane Harbor, Chicago, there were seats in new places where there hadn't been seats before. So there are
like for the surfboard thing, they had them all up on those steps. I like that.
Yeah, like they were definitely, so they were all social distance, but and I didn't end up going to the water park later in the summer last year. I just was no longer comfortable. But I noticed seats even across from the store. So wherever they could safely put seats, there are seats, which I thought was really thoughtful to put as many out as possible. Yeah. Any questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, any questions? I do want to give a big thanks to Six Flags for their invite to Media Day. That was, awesome that we got to take part of that great experience. Not only one day, but 2 days of Media Day. So Hurricane Harbor, Chicago, Hurricane Harbor, Rockford. Again, 2 great new slides that they've added in, Tsunami Surge and Tidal Wave, and then also letting us be part of that commercial shoot. There's quite a few junkies that were selected for that. I think actually, if you were a junkie and you applied, and pretty much you were guaranteed to get in. I know some people didn't show because it got cold, and I know it did change. The dates changed and whatnot. But yeah, it was. We just want to say thanks for that awesome opportunity that we were given.
Yeah, as hard as sometimes we could be, we do appreciate that we love the park, and we love that the park would even consider including us in these memories and opportunities, and it makes it feel like it's family and home.
Rita, we're not sure when that's going to air. I don't know if it's just B-roll that might be used for something down the road, or if it's going to be its own standalone commercial, but they didn't give us a date.
Yeah.
And if there's any junkies that are from Rockford is where they go all the time, and they need a pin or a bracelet, like we said, me and Kim are planning to be there Saturday and can hook them up.
Any other questions anyone wants to throw in via chat here? Did I just cut one of you off from speaking?
No.
Oh, well, and I did see in the chat that we had Christina confirmed that it was a $2 deposit on the tubes. That sounds what I remember, that it was $2. I will have to check. I'll have to take one for the team next time I go and rent a tube.
Yeah, we'll check out the stuff at
Use your gift card.
Use who are you talking to? I have gift cards. They don't work anywhere.
We have one that works everywhere and one that only works in certain stores. So,
and don't use it 3 times in a row in the same place.
Oh.
Right, Brent?
That is, yes, be very careful with that. Something we've beat up in the Facebook forum, but I don't think we've talked about it here, is just the closure of the walkway. Just for anybody who hasn't been there yet, walkway is closed. You cannot sneak back into the park by Viper.
Yeah, and you know what, I believe that the intention was always to have this be a separate gate. It was delayed for a lot of reasons. You can see that it went from being included to being a $5 extra, and then it was $10 extra. And I believe that they had cleared out that area for a 2020 switch, and then 2020 happened. So this was always the intention. This isn't that it just now is a good a time as ever to do it. It's not because of reservations. That walkway is not opening up again.
I don't think it is, because the one time me and Rich were walking around and we actually heard jackhammers, and we don't see any concrete broken up. So they might have been, we couldn't see exactly where they were going, but we could see like back in that direction that there was jackhammers going off. So they might be breaking it up already too.
Really walking, I mean, I know people are conditioned to have their JBs in the middle of the day, but as far as walking in between the two parks, I did that walk a lot last summer. That was a long walk to go in through Viper. And even just if I leave Hurricane Harbor and go back into the dry park. This is a good way to bring it full circle. So when I started talking about security and the things that security needs to do, one of the biggest issues they have is enforcing dress code when you have a water park and you have access from the water park. So if you have this dress code that people need to be in their shoes and people need to have, something
tops on
that maybe cover more than at least cover areolas. But that's a medical word, right? Okay. But if you can't enforce that if they're saying I'm just coming from the water park and you're not going to stop them and make them. So now that's much cleaner and much easier to enforce, because if you've left the water park, you then have to go back through security to come into the dry park. That gives them that eases their job a little bit from what it was, because there were some crazy people crazy ways that people would look coming out of that water park. And then that's not going to happen anymore. So
yeah, I think this is more consistent with the other hurricane harbors in the franchise around the country too.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, when I'm done with Hurricane Harbor, I've got a bunch of wet towels. I've just changed. I have my wet swimsuit. I don't want to carry that stuff through the park. I'm going to my car anyway.
Yeah. And I just think that there was a time that we put my Junkies bag in a ride bin and somebody must have had their wet towel. I mean, there were a lot of things that made it difficult having them be connected in that way. And we're such a big park and that's such a big hurricane harbor that it's not too much to ask to have it be another gate. It's worth it. It's a great gate. It's a great park. It's not just a little slide complex like some of the smaller Six Flags parks. So we don't anticipate that we ever have that walkway back. So it's time. I drew a map. It's quicker, but it will fix some things in the dry park. Also, perhaps with it being if it's so popular this weekend, we may see some relief on the crowding in the dry park once we get more in the Hurricane Harbor.
Until 6 p.m. when they all switch over.
Yeah. But they're going to have to go out and come back in. So
yep. Someone did say they saw a whole bunch of chairs on the walkway. So maybe that's where some of your chairs are.
Well, I don't want to sit there.
Why not?
Yeah, don't want to be out in the walkway.
Well, they
from Viper to the old entrance.
Chairs, they may just be stacked there.
Yeah.
Because they don't have them all out right now. That could change at some point. Lots of I see a question on there I'm not going to directly address. Lots of things happen and lots of things get resolved, and it's a safe place to be. Yeah,
and speaking of places to be, I know some people want some tickets to come to the park.
I think so.
So we do have a pair of tickets. We do have a pair of tickets to give away. Again, these are tickets that are valid now, anytime through the end of the season. They're good through into 2022.
Oh, look at that, so cute.
Oh my goodness.
We have a wheel here, so we are going to spin this wheel.
The teacher and me love that you're using this.
So here we go. We do need music with this though.
Oh, it's already going.
All right, Rebecca, congratulations.
Rebecca's always winning stuff.
I know. She needs to play the lotto.
Yes, she's still here. Comment and confirm that you're still here.
Yeah, let us know that you're here. Put your name in the comments. You do need to be here, so we'll give you a second here too, because if you're not here, we are going to spin the wheel again here in a minute.
My goodness. I was informed that on Jeopardy, there was a making bets happen was a category.
Rebecca is here. She just commented.
She's here.
Yay!
Okay. All right. So she is here. Great. Congratulations. I will message you to get your information, and we will get those tickets in the mail next day or two.
So if you're going to be at Hurricane Harbor this weekend, be ready
pack your patience.
pack your patience. We've had a great experience. Of course, we didn't have the crowds, but if you go in there and you're there to have fun in the water, it's going to be fun. You know, you got to be on island time a little bit in Hurricane Harbor. Otherwise, you defeat the purpose. You need to just relax and enjoy it. And I know they're working hard to have that staffed up and ready, but it's going to be hot. Get there early, get your spot. Be kind to one another.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. And that doesn't matter Hurricane Harbor or if you're in Great America in the dry park, drink plenty of fluids.
We should say, just in case people don't know, that there is a first aid trailer on the way towards the old in-park exit. I don't know if I'm describing that very well.
Yeah, in between the original Hurricane Harbor and the Riptide Bay area, there's a trailer, a first aid trailer. There is no guest relations in Hurricane Harbor. I forgot to mention that.
They would do guest relations right at the gate.
They can register your pass at the gate, just like the dry park.
Yeah. So
but no, there was guest relations. They were actually doing the gift cards there on Saturday when we were there.
Oh, really? On the outside part?
Yep. They had 2 computers set up there doing regular guest relations stuff.
Yeah, there is a little office that you can get things taken care of, but once you're inside Hurricane Harbor, there isn't access to guest relations. But of course, they have the same re-entry policy as any of the other parks. You can re-enter with your membership or pass, or if you are on a one-day ticket, they'll give you a little re-entry slip.
All right.
And Lost Parents is located back towards Skull Island by the bathrooms back there, behind that little
awesome
bar.
Yeah, and if you're in the dry park, if you also need first aid, I believe that is the Red Schoolhouse, located in Hometown Square, over by those kiddie rides, kind of tucked behind the obnoxious basketball game with that buzzer that's always going off.
Yep. All right.
Anybody got anything else here before we say goodbye?
I just was gonna say, I let people know we do shut comments off if the threads are starting to get out of hand. Don't be mad at us. We're just trying to control the group.
It's not controlling you guys. Sometimes it's just controlling what we have time to do. Yep. So please don't take it personally. We've just been getting overwhelmed with the amount of engagement. And we're happy to have so many new members and so much going. Yes, 4,000 members. It's amazing.
Well, as of about 5 minutes before we went live, our official count right now is at 4,225 members.
Wow.
And we've got some exciting things coming up. I have a very special edition pin that's going to be coming out within the next week or so that is going to have very fun criteria about spreading carrot juice, because I'm going to make fetch happen. And I think we're looking at our second edition general pin coming out at some point. So
yes, and we're also coming
those bracelets. We got the bracelets.
The bracelets. We are also coming up on our 2-year anniversary on I believe it's the 9th. So we're about a week away from this group turning 2 years old.
That's large growth in 2 years, Bob. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. As the newbie to the mod team, I just can't express how much effort you guys put into this. My gosh, I had no idea. It's fantastic.
So is this your public resignation? You're like, no, I can't do this?
No, I love it.
No.
There's a lot more to it than I ever would have thought.
Thank you all who continue to contribute and answer questions and crowdsource information for people. It's really helpful to have so many knowledgeable people. I'm learning from so many of you. And
it's like a family. 4,000 strong.
Yeah, 4,000 strong. Keep inviting more friends and family. And I think our next live will be at some point, just kind of check in. We've got some ideas for some other things. It's great to be back to normal. We haven't had this for a long time, so
Yes, there's definitely some projects and ideas that we have in the works. So don't be surprised if you see us kind of taking maybe some surveys out there, kind of gauge a few things. There might be a second edition pin that's coming out at some point, in addition
the meats.
to Sarah's carrot juice pin
We're
as
thinking
well.
of some ride takeovers. We'd like the train to eventually be maybe the first one. Some meats. We haven't had a meat in the Clubhouse is a little hard because it's a sensory zone now, so we don't want to have a meet there because that would not help the people who need it. But having some meets, having some photos, meeting up at ride events. So we're looking forward to that.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that does it for this edition here of our.
And no, pins do not cost money. I see that.
I was going to say,
we
someone just commented.
When people buy Junkies merchandise, that's what funds it.
There's not very much pins left, so
yes. If you are looking for some Junkies merch, the link is available in our announcement section. So we've got all sorts of T-shirts. We don't really need sweatshirts or hoodies right now, but they're out there. There's T-shirts, there's men's, there's women's, there's stuff for babies. There might even be a pet bandana in there. I'm not even sure what's in the online store, but we've got several different logo designs to go with. There's the Junkies logo that you see in the upper right corner, kind of our original initial logo. We've got that. We've got several other different logo designs available. And the great thing is, a lot of people don't realize you can customize the shirt. So if you want to add your name to it, or you want to move the logo around or put something on the back, you can totally do it. It's all done through our third-party vendor. So our hands aren't touching any of it. So we're not shipping you merchandise. You're not paying us. You're actually paying our Spread Shop, which is the company that hosts our online store. But yes, we do count on the proceeds for the merchandise to fund the other fun things that we do here, since we're not a large Facebook group that makes money off of YouTube videos.
All right.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Congratulations, Rebecca, on your park tickets. Send me a private message with your info, and I'll get those out to you. And until next time, guys, have a good night.